Adam Schefter has come out and said that all signs point to the Cleveland Browns drafting Travis Hunter with the #2 overall pick. Take a listen, and I'll get your reaction after, Coach.
Latest intel now is that I believe Travis Hunter is the more likely pick at 2 today, a couple of weeks out of the NFL draft for a couple of different reasons. I think the Cleveland Browns watched him on Friday at his pro day, and they saw somebody that could move like nobody else. I think that going into that day, they viewed him as somebody they could play at wide receiver, and I think sprinkle in defensive back. So I think he could play two ways for them, but I think they may think of him more as a receiver than a cornerback, and they're going to need him to concentrate. And I think he brings them some star power, and there are a lot of people who believe he is the single best player in this draft.
Yeah, a lot of those people, I'm one of them. But Coach Fred, let me ask you, after Colorado's pro day here on Friday, now all signs point to the Browns drafting Travis Hunter at #2. Coach Fred, what are your thoughts? Do you think that's a good fit? Travis Hunter going to Cleveland, potentially playing both ways there?
From what, Schefter was saying, it's kind of going against what Travis said he wants to do. Like, he wants to be a full-time, both-way, two-way guy. And it sounds like they want him more offensively. I'm really surprised by this pick, if this pick happens for Cleveland, because I thought for sure if the kid from Penn State didn't go #1, that this would definitely be their pick, putting him with the other defensive end that they just re-signed. I thought that would be it. But, Chef is usually not off, but this is kind of I don't know. This one kind of takes me by surprise, man, because like you said, they still need a Q. So I don't know what the move is, or maybe this is I'll draft you for somebody, and then we have one of those draft day trades or something. I don't know, but this one strikes me as a little odd.
Yeah, and it's odd from the quarterback perspective. We're going to really find out what Cleveland's going to do. It sounds like Kevin Stefanski is all in on Kenny Pickett here, unless the Browns. I will mention there's a lot of noise that Jalen Milroe is Cleveland's interested in Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe will be attending the NFL draft in person in Green Bay, which seemingly indicates he thinks he's going to go in the first round. But let's focus on Travis Hunter, Fred. We just heard Adam Schefter say that he thinks Travis Hunter is going to specialize in receiver, potentially play a little bit of corner. But let me ask you, Travis Hunter in Cleveland, them at wide receiver, who do they got? Judy? I think that's about it. And on defense, they got Denzel Ward, which I think Travis Hunter would pair well with. But Coach Fred, let me ask you, and this is something that I feel we got to at least give Travis Hunter the chance to play both ways in the NFL. At least give him the shot, because every single level of football that he's been in, he's been told he can't do it. Going up from high school to Jackson State, going to Colorado, obviously everyone said, he couldn't do it. 2 seasons there where he proved everybody wrong. Now he heads in the NFL. Fred, do you think we should at least give Travis Hunter a chance to play both ways in the NFL?
I mean, I think they should, but then I think they're also looking at the #2 pick. That's a big investment. We want him because if you go through his career, he hadn't completed a whole season.
Yeah, that's true.
For one reason or another. So, they're thinking maybe not right now, or like, Schefter said, sprinkled in here and there. But I think they got to do that, especially if he says that's what he wants to do. Because if he says that's what he wants to do and then they don't do that, or they go, and then get him there and then flip it, we all know who his representation is, who his team is. It can get really, really nasty for Cleveland.
Yeah, definitely. And Steve Smith, I don't know if you saw this, was at Colorado's pro day where Travis Hunter ended up catching routes for Shedeur Sanders. I don't think Travis Hunter was actually going to do anything at Colorado's pro day, much to the disappointment, but we knew he would have jumped out of the building and ran a 4.3. Nonetheless, Steve Smith talked about Travis Hunter having to hone in a craft, whether that's a wide receiver or a cornerback. I want to get your take on this, Coach Fred. Take a listen.
Good feet, deep over. He's good. The only thing I would say is when he was sitting down, he put his hands backwards to indicate to the defender that he was going to break down. So I need him to keep both his hands moving. But he'll learn that as he hones in on his craft more and more in the league, he'll be fine. That's why he most likely will have to play one position primarily so he can master his craft. Because you never want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. They don't pay masters of none. They pay craftsmen.
Coach Fred, agree or disagree with Steve Smith Sr. there?
I mean, I think he's spot on. You know, either become that real shutdown guy that everybody says he can be, or be the athlete that they want to get the ball in his hands every fifth play and let him be electric. You know, one of the two. But I'm kind of like Steve Smith. If I'm sitting there and I'm kind of watching, too, I'll go back. I was a little disappointed he didn't run because I really want to know how fast he is.
Me too.
You know, so I was a little disappointed that he didn't run, at least run. But if you go back and you put that tape on, Bailey, just play the little clip you just did, you know, as a receiver coach, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of watching, you know, it's a lot of side-to-side motion with the hands. And like Steve says, on the break, if you watch his right arm, you know, well, his left arm, as I'm looking at it, he kind of swings it over the top. You know,
Right.
Those are all things that, you know, little old me as a, you know, Division I, AA, however you want to put it, football coach, those are things that I harp on. And then like Steve Smith said, those are things that you're going to get every day. You remember now, NFL practice is not like the practice at Colorado. You know, the agreement that they have with the Players Association, there's no 2-hour practice. There's no 2.5-hour practice. You know, they're in and they're out. So a lot of this stuff is going to have to be done on his own with a trainer or whatever. So, you know, those are all little things that he's got to get better at when those guys are up in his face for press. How is he going to handle that? How is he going to handle pressing someone? You know, because I said it before, you know, he's not a 190 guy. He's not a 195 guy. And now you're talking about putting him down in the face of, say a Mike Evans.
Right.
You know, how's he going to handle that? How is he going to handle some of those bigger receivers if it's just kind of part-time work, if that makes sense? But
Right.
Again, I go back to what you said. I think if they draft him and this is what he says he wants to do, I think they have to do that because they'll paint themselves in the corner if they don't.
Yeah, definitely. And it's gonna be interesting. I heard JB this morning say Travis was 160. I'm like, dude, we gotta be real. Travis is a $185. I get he's not 200, but he's not 160 either. And I have no doubt, Fred, and I'm sure you, having seen his tape, I have no doubt that if Travis were to run, he would run something where we're like, oh shit, like what you'd expect, like in the 4.3s.
That's what I was hoping,
Jump
man.
out the
That's what I
building.
wanted to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and I was a little disappointed to not see him at Colorado's pro day. At the same time, I'm like, you know what? You know, him going out there, no gloves, just running routes for Shador. I'm cool with that. It is what it is. I'm not.
Well, let me ask you this though, Bailey, before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there was a reason he didn't run because he knew the clocks wouldn't be 4.3-ish? Not that it matters. Now 4.3 is rolling.
Yeah.
There's very few people, although people think there are very few people in the NFL that are running 4.3. Let's just cut through, let's just cut through it. 4.4, the high 4.4s for me when I'm saying 4.41, 4.42, that's freaking rolling. So not a lot of guys will run that either. But the 4.5s, 4.6, you get that. That's kind of where it is. The quickness kind of sets them apart. So I'm asking you, do you think he didn't run because of the thought of not hitting the 4.3, 4.4 mark?
No, not at all. Because here 2 points. I don't think he's scared of nothing. I think I don't think there's an outstanding narrative to where he has to go prove I run a 4.3. I think if people are questioning, hey, we think you're slower than what it is. I don't think anybody's questioning Travis Hunter's athletic ability at all. I think if anything, people are questioning what he can do. Like, can he play both ways? Blah, 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 blah. That brings me to my next point, Coach Fred, before we move on to Travis Hunter. A.J. Brown talked about playing against Travis Hunter and whether Travis Hunter will be able to play both ways in the NFL. Take a listen to this.
It's going to be tough for him. He's going to have to be in shape. I'm not saying that he can't do it, because who am I to say that he can't do anything? But, he got a lot of work ahead of him because it's gonna be so tough. It's a lot of plays, it's a long year, and so he's gonna have to practice. So,
Yeah, a different beast in the NFL, Coach Fred. Last thing I'm going to ask you, your thoughts on A.J. Brown's comments on Travis Hunter playing both ways. And if you were coaching Travis Hunter and you were coaching for Cleveland, would you give him the opportunity to play both ways starting out, yes or no? Those are my two questions.
I think we would throw it out there early on
Mhm.
and just kind of see.
Right.
Preseason is preseason, but I think this is where you set your mark at.
Agreed.
Now, because he's not going to be playing against, say, everyone's number one and probably till that last, because what are they playing? 3 preseason games now. So, he wouldn't play against the number ones until later in. But I think that first preseason game, that second preseason game, I think this is where you got to do it just to see where the, what's the word I'm looking for? The litness, to see where it is, you know what I mean? So I think they got to do it early on. I don't think you wait to the season to see if you can do it. I think you got to do it early, and then now you have the proof to say, hey, Travis, this is what we're thinking because this is what happened. We got the numbers. This is what happened when we did it in the first preseason game. This is what happened when we did it in the second preseason game. This is where we kind of find that balance for you. And then I think when he sees the numbers, he's got to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we'll see what those numbers are. If those numbers, I'll tell you right now, Coach Fred, and you probably know this too. If Travis Hunter goes and makes some stupid play in a preseason game, go like on one side of the ball or the other, both sides, if he can prove that he does that, the whole world is exactly. Like we gotta really accelerate this. So nonetheless, we'll see where Travis Hunter how Cleveland elects to use Travis Hunter. But Adam Schefter says all signs point to Cleveland drafting Travis Hunter at number 2. That is an interesting development. Surprising that they're going quarterback. Coach Fred, go ahead.
So before Adam's deal, Mr. Scheffler's deal, we were all saying quarterback. But did it ever cross your mind that them pairing what's his name, Abdul, with Myles Garrett, how scary that could be for them?
Oh, I thought they were gonna. I honestly thought, and I said this on the show last week. I still think they're going with Kenny Pickett. I really do. I think it's interesting they traded DTR for Kenny Pickett. I think that's interesting. I think that there's a lot of. I just don't think they're going quarterback, Fred. I thought Abdul Carter pairing with Myles Garrett would have been really nice. We all know how dominant Myles Garrett is. Abdul Carter, I think, is a freakazoid off the edge. We'll see him. He hasn't. I don't think he did Penn State's pro day or anything, so we haven't seen much of him. Obviously, didn't do the combine. But nonetheless, yeah, I thought that would have been a nice pairing with Myles Garrett. But I think ultimately Cleveland needs a weapon. And if they can use Travis on both sides, have him like Justin Jefferson on offense, and then have him on defense with Denzel Ward, I don't think you can ask for much more in Cleveland, especially if they're going to go draft Jalen Milroe, which there's a lot of noise around that.
Do they have 2 first-round picks?
I don't believe so. Let me go pull up the draft order, but I don't believe Cleveland has 2 first-round picks. But the rumor is they're either going to trade for Milroe or circle back and get him, I would guess, early in the second round. Do you think Jalen Milroe would be a good fit as Cleveland's quarterback? Because Kevin Stefanski developed him, and interesting year with Milroe under Kalen DeBoer there.
Yeah, and I think if they are going to get him, I can see an offensive change from what they've been. I could see them kind of going more like, my Redskins. My Commanders offensively with Jalen. I can kind of see that Baltimore-ish just to try to get him comfortable. And because, if you go get him early, you're not going to get him to sit him. To me.
Facts. No, I agree with you, Coach Fred, 100%.